Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing another 3 looks 1 palette with a palette that is on the chopping block. The palette that is up for the chop today is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. I am nervous about this because my last 2 videos with my Huda palettes did not go well. So I'm hopeful that this will still perform well and work well for me. I cannot wait to dig in. This color story, you guys, is so beautiful. I don't know why I haven't reached for it. I'm hoping that it's gonna just re-inspire some, motivation to reach for it, get re-familiar, that kind of thing. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. I will link my Huda Beauty playlist below if you want to see some other looks and videos using her palettes. But yeah, I think that is all I had to say. First 2 looks will be sped up and voiced over. Last look will be chit chat through it, doing it together. So that's kind of how it lays out. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into a close-up and some swatches. All right, so here is just a close-up of the palette. This is in natural lighting, and then I'm gonna switch into some swatches so you guys can see the color swatched out in natural lighting. I think this just kind of helps better see the colors and the tones. But yeah, let's jump into look number 1. All right, here you go, guys. We're going to be doing look number 1 with the Mercury Retrograde. I'm just going in with the more skin tone shade Momentum to set my lid. I've clearly used this a lot, not only with this palette, but for looks with other palettes. It seems to be performing fine. Now I'm going to go into that really pretty lilac shade, and whoa, I was pleasantly surprised with the payoff of the shadow. I was worried that due to age, it might have lost some of that vibrancy, but as you can see, it is still packing a punch. It is freaking gorgeous. So very pleasantly surprised with that. Now I'm going to go into that deeper maroon pinkish shade. This is giving very Valentine's to me. I really wanted to hone in on some of the deeper shades in this palette just because the other 2 Huda palettes I have pulled back out have expired. So I wanted to test out these deeper shades, and as you can see, like, I'm not having any issues. It's pigmented, it's packing in, it's not blending away. It seems to be holding up great, which is incredible. I'm very, very excited about that. Now I'm just dipping back into the lilac shade a little bit so that I can blend out those edges. I don't know, helps it look a little bit more cohesive. And tapping back in and filling in areas I feel like could use a little bit more product. Now I'm going to go on with my NYX glitter glue before I put the shimmer on my lid. I'm going to go in with this really pretty baby pink up there in the top. And I'm going to just put this all over the lid. This is more of a subtle shimmer in my opinion, especially with her formula. Some of them are very impactful. This was more on the mild side, but nonetheless, it was still really beautiful and held up really well. I love how it turned out. And then just as a fun little touch, I'm going to go into gosh darn it, I don't have the palette in front of me, but the white shifty shade there. And I'm going to just tap this on the center for some extra reflect for fun. Like I said, I really love how this look came out. And I'll insert a close-up so that you guys can check it out. But yeah, that is look number 1. All right, look number 2, here we go. Dipping back into Momentum just to set this lid down and get it prepped and ready. The next shade I'm reaching into, I was expecting it to pull a little more like neutral brownie, that one down there. But as you can see, it pulled very salmon, which when I turned it around and got it into the natural light, I was like, oh, this is clearly a more salmon-y pink color. Whereas in just like regular house lighting, it looked
more on like a neutral brown side. But regardless, I really like the shade. It blended out really well, very pigmented, creamy, easy to work with. I don't recall using this shade a lot the last time I had this palette, so it was fun to kind of play with something newer to me. And I really love how the tone is going to end up playing into the rest of the look. I'm dipping into that deep purple shade right there. Another one I was worried that might not perform well anymore, but as you can see, it's doing well. It's doing the thing. These are the Huda mats that I know and love. So I'm very excited that it's performing the way that I know they're supposed to. I'm gonna just dip in with a little bit of NYX glitter glue before I go in with the shimmer. The shimmer that I used down there in the lower corner, it was like not really going on well with the brush, so I decided to switch it up and use my finger. This mitigated the issue and it easily applied, looked pigmented, gave me the shine and sparkle that I love. Obviously, I couldn't get into those like nooks and crannies with my finger, so I did end up going in with that brush again just to kind of touch up the edges and add a little bit. But yeah, overall, I'm enjoying this color story. It looks stinking beautiful.
Okay, so here is the finished look. I have dry shampoo in my hair, so ignore that. I really love the way that it turned out. Sorry, the lighting is like kind of harsh right here, but I'll insert a photo so that you can better see the tones and the shimmer. For a final touch, I just used the shade Vortex here on the lower lash line, and then I went in with the shade Gold Glitch on that inner portion, which is just the most beautiful pop. I still am going to do a third look with this, but I am very pleasantly surprised. After doing 3 looks 1 palette with my other 2 older Huda palettes, we discovered that a lot of the shadows in there were expiring. So when I went into this one, I was prepared for this to not perform because it is also a little bit of an older palette. I wanted to be mindful to use some of the more flaky shimmers first because those seem to go off in the other palettes, as well as some of the deeper shades because those were what was giving me like the most issues. So that's why I've been dabbling around in the shades I've been dabbling in. But yes, I will definitely do another look with this and then we'll circle back for final thoughts and decisions. Okay, here we go. Look number 3. I thought we would do this one together. I am trying to think like of what kind of color story I want to do, because we've kind of dabbled in like the pink and the purple, which is like, you know, the majority of the palette. Then we also dabbled in some more bronze situations. I was thinking that, oh, we could play with the blue, but realistically, the blue is probably gonna be one of my least likely items to use. So I'd rather not waste a look testing that kind of a shade. So I think we're gonna just stick in the pink and purple range, but use some of the other shimmers as we do so. So I'm gonna dip into the shade Off Balance here first. And that is, I'm gonna just go in with that immediately in the like crease and transition and just start building it up a little bit because the shimmers are like what I was worried about potentially not being good just because of some other past experiences in this series. So I really want to make sure I get the items that I am really wanting to hang on to, test it out. Wow, this is bright. I don't know why. I feel like I was not expecting this to pull this bright pink. Which makes me feel like maybe did we use this shade already? We might have. I've kind of been filming this over a little bit of a longer period because I got like really sick. I think it was just mostly allergy slash sinus because the weather where I live has been insanity. It will be 30 degrees one day, 55 degrees the next 2 days, back down to 30 something and snowing. Like, it has just been a nightmare, and my head and eyes, like, they're gonna just explode out of my head. Now I'm gonna use the Vortex shade, which is the deep one here, and that's what I'm gonna use again to deepen this outer corner. Tito's on my lap right now, so if you see his tail wagging around or I'm struggling, that's what's going on. You want your makeup done? Boop, 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 boop. My needy baby. All right, anyways, so yeah, weather has been crazy, which has also been affecting Tito. He gets like allergies, and he's never had them this bad, to the point where like he's eating his skin off. Like, I had to get him some like medicine and was bathing him in coconut oil, and like and we're giving him Benadryl, and like it's all helping, but he is still struggling a little bit. And I just think it's to do with the way the weather has just been, you know, crazy back and forth. I wish it would just make up its mind, you know, because I'm tired of it. The shade is blending out really well, not having any issues. And I really like this color story. I'm really trying to remember, like, I'm pretty sure my first look I used the shade Hot Mess on the outer corner, so I don't think I'm duplicating a look. I'd be annoyed if I go back and I'm like, I did. I guess I should have watched it beforehand, but my mom ran to the store, so I was like, okay, let's use this window to hopefully get some content filmed. So I didn't do like that kind of prep work before I started, because I really was just trying to get some stuff in before she got back. So I didn't want to have to deal with, you know, additional noise. What do I want to use? Ultraviolet shade is pretty. Super, ooh, what if we did that? A little bit of, so I think I'm gonna go in with ultraviolet all over the lid, and then we'll use Supermoon as like a topper, and then potentially this Galaxy shade here. Oh, maybe that looks darker on the camera. I don't know, the lighting, I have it like turned up, but I feel like it looks warm and overcast. I don't know. So I think purple, Supermoon, and then maybe that on the inner corner, because like I said, it doesn't look as deep in person, but maybe I'll put Supermoon on the inner corner and just like, you know, in a more packed way, so that it kind of has like a different effect. Gonna use my NYX glitter glue, just go in on both lids really quickly. All right, so we're gonna go in first with ultraviolet and apply that all over our lid. Shade is pretty, pretty, pretty. Fun fact, I used to have this palette, and it was pans galore. I think there were, I would guess, 6 to 8 pans in this palette, but then the clasp broke back here, the plastic, which was really frustrating because like I'm not hard on my palettes at all. So that was like super frustrating, and I was worried about it drying out, and I tried to depot it, But oh my gosh, getting the shades out of here, nightmare, straight nightmare. And then my friend Lauren was kind enough to send me hers because she's like, you know, I've had this palette for a year and I've only used it a couple times. She was like, I know how much you love it, so if you want it, I will send you mine. And I was like, oh my God, for real? And she's like, yeah. So she sent me hers and I used it like 3 to 4 times as a whole. And then, I don't know, my life just got really crazy and I relied really heavily on my neutrals and simple looks, and so I just didn't reach for this really, and that's okay. It's like why I wanted to pull it back out. I'm gonna go in with just a little bit more Vortex and just kind of tap back over the outer corner here, the outer edge. Ready? And then I'm gonna take, like I said, a little bit of Super Moon Magic, that's in the Rose Quartz palette. And I'm gonna just like rub it on my finger and pop it in the center there. I think that looks really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna pop off and I'm gonna do the rest of my face and then some finishing touches like my inner corner and whatnot, and then I'll be back and we can chat about the finishing touches and then like my ultimate decision on what I'm gonna do with this palette. Okay, so here is the finished look. I love how it turned out. I just went back in with the shade Vortex here on my lower lash line, and then I went in with Supermoon on the inner corner, which I just think looks really stunning. So yeah, very pleased. I did go back and look at my other 2 looks because it was like bothering me that I like couldn't remember what I did, and all the looks are definitely different, very versatile. So I'm glad that I was able to provide that, especially if you're looking for some inspo with this palette if you have it. Overall, I'm really pleased, like not only with the looks that I was able to formulate, because they're a lot more different than like what I've created with this palette before, which I can link my last 3 looks one palette with this below. It's been like over a year. It's been like 2 years now at this point. So it's kind of fun to see how my looks with this palette have evolved. I did not have any issues with the mattes that I used this run. I think the only matte that I didn't use is this one here. Shimmers, I tried all of them except for these 2. These I swatched and they felt okay. They didn't feel dry, crumbly, or anything like that, so that was good. I was mostly worried about the deep shades and the shimmer shades, especially after the experience with my Rose Quartz palette and my khaki palette. I was very worried that this palette would be expired and would not perform, but I am so happy to report that that has not been my experience. These shadows were not patchy, they weren't dry, I didn't have any reactions on my eyes, no creasing, everything held up beautifully. So yes, very pleasantly surprised, very happy with the outcome of this. That being said, this one is going to stay in my collection a little bit longer. It's very unique to what I have in my collection and offers a different area of variety and textures. So I am definitely going to be hanging on to this. I am, honestly, I can't even tell you guys how glad I am that this palette is fine, because that was the worry. And I've definitely fallen back in love with it and playing with this kind of color. Very fun. I loved all the looks that I created. But yeah, that's it for this one. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like this video before you leave. And yeah, I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye.